Close. So thank you for joining us for the last session of the day. I know we're tired, so let's get right into it. So we're going to be discussing the empowerment of persons with lived experience through different organizations, and we've got 3 panelists for today, or presenters. So the first one, if I can bring up Charlene Sinkel, who's the CEO of the Global Mental Health Peer Network, and maybe just explain a little bit about what the work is that the GMHPN does to empower persons with lived experience.
It's not open.
She has another one.
Claudia did something to the thing.
It's open.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, thank you. I don't know where to look because everybody's scattered. But okay, let's eat off. So I'm going to tell you a bit more about the Global Mental Health Peer Network, what we stand for, what we're all about, and what we do. So maybe just to start off by explaining exactly what we consider as persons with lived experience. We have a specific definition when we appoint our members with lived experience. I'm not going to read it exactly as it is, but basically it's anyone who had some form of difficulty with mental health problems in the past or the present. We do not define lived experience specifically whether a person have used medication or are using medication specifically, but as long as they have used or before or currently any form of mental health services, so that can be even peer support services. So I think we pride ourselves for being 100% lived experience. By that I mean the entire structure of the organization, from our board of management right through to all our members, all our staff, even our volunteers are all people with lived experience. So among all our representatives, everyone in the organization, we have really a wide range of expertise. Some of our members are even psychiatrists, psychologists, lawyers, expertise in specific fields like, for example, youth mental health, women empowerment, gender-based violence. So we're really collectively a very strong voice. We kind of base our work, the purpose of our work is on 2 key principles. First of all, is to develop lived experience leadership. Secondly, that is done through a sophisticated communications platform, which we create for people with lived experience to share their views, their perspectives, and also kind of their solutions to issues that we encounter and advocate for. And that ultimately we hope to influence policy and practice globally and locally. Okay, so just to understand the structure, I think it confuses a lot of people. It looks very complicated, but it's not really. So we have the board of management. They're more of a governance structure. And that is required because we are registered as a non-profit organization and a public benefit organization in South Africa. Then we have the global office, so that's more the operational structure. We are currently, myself and Claudia is the deputy CEO, and then we have a project assistant. So we have a very small team in the global office. And then we have our regional coordinators. Those are members who've been with us for more than 2 years, kind of that area, where they've already gained some experiences in being part of the organization. So they kind of more of a monitoring and evaluation mechanism within the organization, and also support to the country leadership and the regional executive committee. Then we have the regional executive committee. There's 2 co-leads. So we have 2 people who kind of lead each of the world regions. There's 6. But due to kind of quite high volume of members within the African continent, we had to divide that into Northern and Southern Africa, just to make the groups a bit more smaller and more manageable. You can imagine having about 140 people on a WhatsApp group, and all the PPing from messages can be quite quite hectic. But yeah, so it's important to break that into smaller groups. And then our country leadership committee. So that's kind of the entry point into the organization. That is where our new members get into the structure. That is by a call for applications once a year. So people with lived experience who are interested would apply via an online application form. I think last time we received like 100 applications, quite far, and eventually we selected 31. We appoint 5 members per country to represent their country. And then we have our mentors. Our mentors are those who also serve their 2-year term in the country leadership committee. So after the people serve their 2-year term in the country leadership committee, it sounds like I make it very complicated, but anyway. So then they have the choice either to become a mentor or they can move automatically to honorary membership. All right, and then we have, it's a new structure that we're starting, our in-house teams. That's an in-house research team. So anything related to research that we want to do or participate in, we have that team who will we will consult and we will engage with on those topics. A new structure is also the peer support in-house team, and that is to support our members because we do a lot of work sometimes, we need to support each other. Actually, it's kind of automatic in any way. And then subcommittees, we have a range, I don't even know how many anymore. Okay, youth, women empowerment, LGBTQ. New one that we will launch in October is the stigma subcommittee. Then we have education, so that looks at issues around mental health and education, specifically aimed at education system, basic and higher education. And then a human rights subcommittee, new one that will also be launched in October is the peer support subcommittee and a suicide prevention. So a lot of commemorative dates, as you know, like let's say World Suicide Prevention Day. For example, the suicide prevention subcommittee will kind of come up with a campaign that they want to do, and they got full freedom what they want to do. We are there at the Global Office to support them. If they need to have flyers designed or materials developed, we kind of support that. If they want to have a webinar, we support that. So that is that. And the reason for the subcommittees is also to specifically bring the voices of specific population groups and specific issues out so that we don't leave anyone behind. For example, also maybe just to mention like the women empowerment, I think they focus a lot on gender-based violence at the moment as well. So they identify what is important to them. Here you can see the growth of the organization. Right in the beginning when it was established in 2018, what was that? We sat with 12 countries and I think 14 lived experience representatives. And today we stand at close to, I think it's now 140 and 40 countries. So here you can see the list of countries that's currently represented. And you may note that Lithuania is not on there. So it would be actually excellent if we have some representation from Lithuania. Okay. Here you can see our representation across age groups. Interestingly enough, almost half of the membership are within the youth category between 18 and 34. And then 35 between 50, 41%. And then the more senior people are a bit less. And age group, which is also interesting, is that the majority of our members are female, with 65%, if I'm reading correctly. Sorry, it's still a bit blurry. And then also across race groups, that's also quite equal between black and white, and then we have Asian and also colored. Okay, just to mention, I know some countries refer to races maybe differently. I don't think, I wouldn't even go there because I can't remember what. But in South Africa, because we report under the South African laws, we use Asian, black, colored, and white. Okay, so then you look at the income country. I must say in the beginning it was extremely difficult to get representation from low income countries specifically. So it's really good to see that component has grown to 10% of our overall membership. And low middle income countries and middle upper income and then higher income. So the low and middle income countries are still dominant in the membership. So what do? Our 4 key words is empower, include, voice, and leader. So we exist to kind of empower people. And not only through our mentorship program where we have workshops where we kind of teach our membership on a range of topics, but it's also our members who teach each other about from their own perspectives and their own experiences. So that is where the knowledge exchange come in. I think they actually learn more from each other than they do from me or Claudia. And then include, so we make sure to include lived experience in conversations and decision-making processes, and also to make sure wherever we can to ensure that it's meaningful and authentic. So that is why the empowerment component is so important, because that would mean meaningful. We equip our members to meaningfully contribute to discussion and decision-making opportunities. We do get quite a lot of opportunities. Most are quite high level, where we do attend events and give our perspectives. That ranges from documents, policies, strategic plans, reports. We worked a lot with WHO, UN, and even some big research institutions, but of course, it's quite a wide range. And then voice, what's very important to us is to provide a safe space for our members or whoever who are part of the general membership or anyone lived experience to have a safe space to kind of share their experiences, perspectives, and also solutions. I always say, you know, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So it's always good, you have to complain and raise issues, but you also have to come up with a solution. And with that collective voice, I also mentioned the diversity in experiences and skills within the organization. So you can imagine that helps tremendously with collective advocacy initiatives. And also a wide range of voices. I mean, I think the bigger we grow, the stronger our voice. And then leader, that is kind of the main focus of the peer network, is to develop lived experience leadership to be that catalyst of change globally. And that is why we also call ourselves experts by experience, and that we need to be key partners in all of these things. It's probably I'm not even going to try and read that, but that's literally just to show some, can you read it there? Yeah, a little bit. Okay, that's just kind of the topics of the mentorship workshops that we do to show you the wide range of topics we cover. We have one once a month. Our new members, it's compulsory to attend at least 4 of those workshops per year. That is just because when we appoint people with lived experience to the country leadership committee, we are not looking for someone who's already at a high level, at a global level in their advocacy career. We're looking at people who we can empower to get there, because that's the point of the organization, is to develop that leadership. And here's my creativity again, experts by experience, consultancy services. Okay, so we actually do not want to rely on donations or public funding. So we started experts by experience consultancy services to become self-sustainable. I must say it's not smooth sailing yet. It's quite difficult for us to promote ourselves as experts by experience who can actually provide a service. We had a few contract work, but then, as we spoke in previous sessions, people are not very keen to pay us a lot. So it's still a bit that lack of value, monetary value. But hopefully we will get there. We were fortunate to be selected. It's an organization called Ember, so they are mentoring us to help us strengthening the organization, the kind of capacity building, but also to help us promote and market our services. You don't need to read this. This is just there, the different services that we offer. We have an expert advisory team. So that's a service where we provide lived experience perspectives, review policies or documents, or any engagement session. So that's that component. Then we have knowledge equals empower. That is where companies often would ask for us to come and do sessions around mental health or mental health conditions or a specific mental health condition or something around that. So then we do that. Then we have a thriving with mental health conditions. That is purely a recovery story. So our members who we involved in this would then share their recovery stories. So that is that. And then we have in-house peer support that we do mainly for companies. We haven't started that yet, so that's kind of a new thing that we still need to implement, but that is where we help companies to establish peer support groups within the company, in the workplace, so that that is available to employees who experience mental health problems. And then our mental health champion training. So we train champions within the corporate sector, but I suppose it can work the same in the education system or in other ways. I know in South Africa they call it a lot mental health champions. So that is where one person with a lived experience in a company would be kind of responsible for campaigning, helping to promote mental health among employees, that kind of thing. So we train them. And then Claudia's most favorite workshop is the mindfulness thing. So we also offer that so people in the company can stay calm. But, okay, so this service, maybe just to end off by saying, yes, did I? Yeah, this service is only, we use our members. So when we get requests, let's say the thriving with mental health condition, sometimes it would be 3 of us or 2 of us. Okay, not us, but we would get our members. Because for us it's important also when we offer the service to give diverse perspectives. So even if it's in South Africa that we are requested, we maybe will use a South African person to share their recovery story, but also from another country, because it's good for people to also know the experiences from other countries. And that is, thank you. Oh.
Maybe just reminding people that you can find us on Twitter and Facebook
and
LinkedIn. So please do follow us. You'll find our events online. And okay, so we're going to move on now to Leon and Sharit, who will be presenting from Enosh. You guys can come up so long, and then I will introduce you properly. So you will notice that both the Peer Network and Enosh, which is the Israeli Mental Health Association, work very much within the realm of empowering persons with lived experience. Sharit, on the side, give them a wave, is the Director of Community Outreach and Social Services, and Leon is the Head of Lived Experience Department at Enosh. So I'll hand it over to you, ladies.
So hello, everyone, and we are very happy to be here, so thank you for staying with us. At Enosh, the Israeli Mental Health Association, we work side by side with professionals and experts with lived experience. We have joined forces to promote, develop, and provide services, as well as influence the social discourse of mental health in Israel. We want to share our journey with you, where we started and what we are the challenges and what lead us to where we stand today in 2022. So whether you are a professional or person with lived experience, we want to give you some insight of how to implement an integrative approach in your organization. My name is Shirit Per-Levi. I'm a Director of Community Outreach and Social Services at Enosh, the Israeli Mental Health Association, and I've worked for over 17 years with people with disabilities. The Lived Experience Department is under my responsibility.
And I am Leon Guy Meir, and for the past 3 years, I'm a peer specialist, peer supporter, and a head of lived experience department at Enosh. And Enosh was established 44 years ago by a group of mothers that wanted to support their loved ones. In time that the main solution was hospitalization, psychiatrist hospitalization, Since its establishment, the organization is based on lived experience, from the founder to their vision. And we see that its impact the organization and also on policy. We have three goals. We're promoting rights and services for people with psychosocial disability and their family. We're raising awareness and fighting the stigma in mental health, and we're developing and expanding mental health services in the community. And from the beginning, it was very important that lived experience was very significant. The founder family were the one who led the path.
So through the years, we saw the development of professional mental health services. Enosh was establishing rehabilitation services in the community in Israel, as was developed in other parts of the world at this time. In the early 90s, Enosh opened the first community hostel and the first employee center within the community. Enosh continued to expand its branches nationwide. So live experience perspectives, though, were not embedded in the professional services then.
And at the same time in Israel, survivors started to talk about their psychiatrist hospitalization. They started to share their story and the option of people to live independent lives in the community with the help that they need. These war stories reflected the need for transformation in the mental health system in Israel. The social climate in mental health service was that employees cannot share their lived experience in the workplace. Some people were working in the system as a professional, but they were limited by the system. This trend limited the potential to influence of them as an expert by experience.
A significant stage that led us to where we stand today, and we're very proud of it, was searching for the right way to balance professional and lived experience knowledge. Enosh was contributing to the adoption of lived experience based on the family support models, which were adopted as a national services by the Ministry of Health. Over the past 12 years, Enosh tried to implement lived experience knowledge in many ways. For example, appointing a professional manager with lived experience who held the lived experience perspective on top of our professional responsibility. Then, the organization provided individual guidance to employees with lived experience.
And let me tell you a small example of it. I was working at the same time at supportive housing in Enosh. It was my first job, and I required to get this guiding without asking me if I need it or if it's connect to my needs, and I was felt underappreciated, and it's reflect on the institutional stigma toward employee with lived experience that can lead to discrimination. 7 years ago, the first peer support program in Israel in a psychiatrist hospital was established. This program was based on 3 principles. One, peer support as a role, paid role in the organization, specific role. Two, peers were part of the multidisciplinary mental health team. And three, peer manager was working with the high-level manager in the hospital. And there was a research on this program. It was very successful.
I want to go back because I told you so that there is a position of lived experience in Enosh, but back then the problem was that it was not a central position in the organizational structure. There was no design role for peer support, no discussion about the specific employee with lived experience needs, and no definition of lived experience knowledge was vague. So this is the stage that we were before, and now, after Leon told you what's happened in Israel, this development pushed Enosh to integrate lived experience perception into the organization and appoint a director of lived experience in Enosh.
And today, together with professional management, we are leading toward the path that is adopted to the needs and the development of world of mental health. We implement languages, training, advocacy, and peer support service at all levels of work. We are taking part on the Upside International Research Project that promote peer support group in mental health setting. And we are now established peer force as a professional position, and they will join the family member peers that already working for 6 years at Enosh.
Our greatest joy is that we have developed lived experience as a profession, which is today a beacon within the organization alongside the traditional profession for mental health services. It is important to note that the path was not always easy, and there are indeed some challenges. So I want to share with you what I've learned from this journey. The duality of responsibility, my ability as a professional to regularly integrate both professionals' perspective as well as knowledge from lived experience. It's important that I held them both together equally. The combination makes me a better professional. Our ambition is that all employee and manager at Enosh adopt this perspective. The second one is not to be afraid of conflicts, from open conversation and in place where it's necessary. The third one is implementing lived experience in every part of the organization. The responsibility to find places and encourage as many people as possible to raise their voices and find the opportunity to do so. Understand that Leon's voice is, as a director of the lived experience department, is a significant for promoting process, but at the same time, other voices must be expressed. And the last one, not to shield them from external difficulties.
And those are my things that I learn. One, personal boundaries. Using the perspective of lived experience and decided what, where, and when to share my personal experience. What is relevant from the pieces of my story. Two, accessibility and adaptation, as an employee with disability are crucial, but without exemption. What are the needs to be included? Three, we need to reinforce trust between people with lived experience and professional. Actions such as emphasizing similarity are important, especially in the beginning. And four, as Dr. Patricia Digan was saying, to be innovative interrupter. The constant conflict between wanted to be part of and integrating into the professional team without losing your authentic lived experience perspective.
Thank you. So we still have challenges. We are still in the journey. Assembling lived experience in every service we provide, expanding service user impact and expanding group peer services, influence in policy and resources, transforming mental health services and gain governmental support for implementing peer support roles, and developing an adaptation and accessibility for employees with lived experience. So what do we want you to take home with you?
Ask people. Don't impose your perspective both ways.
Don't be afraid of conflict. It helps you to do better.
And this is a journey. It takes time and it's constantly learning and improving.
Thank you.